What is up, YouTube? Welcome to this Defenders video breakdown. So, I've watched all of Defenders Season 1 and boy, was it amazing. It was a suitable, I say suitable end cap to the first phase of Marvel's Netflix adventure, which has taken quite some time to actually come to a head here. It's been about 4 years, I believe-ish, since we have started this journey, and it was really fun. It was a great way to see all these fantastic characters to really come to a head. Now, it starts off with a really stellar episode, which really was just a tad slow, but the problem was it was going on, it was firing all cylinders. So I'm a bit contradictory there, where I say it was slow, but we had a lot of kind of fast pace. We didn't stick on one section. It was no action or anything like that. It was just catching up with each character. And we start off with Elektra in Cambodia, who is now a complete and utter kind of weapon for the Hand. And it was really cool to see how this has progressed and how these characters have moved on. One criticism for me is that people like, of course, Jessica Jones hasn't actually kind of moved on that much. She's still pretty much the same character. You'd think her kind of experience with Kilgrave would actually really move her forward, which, funny enough, a little Easter egg. So I'm going to pepper my Easter eggs throughout this. It's the first time that Kilgrave, which is the first name or the proper name of the Purple Man, has been mentioned on any of the shows so far. So it's not looking good there as well. We know that he's actually going to probably come back, to be honest. But it was nice the way it was edited, and we saw each scene was really done in its own way. We of course saw Luke Cage get off the bus. He come out of prison, which is obviously the same prison as a lot of the characters have actually been featured on the rest of the show. And, well, his bus number name thing actually had the Ultimate Universe figure on there, which is, funnily enough, where he became the Iron Fist. He took on the Iron Fist mantle and merged his Power Man and Iron Fist names together, which was really cool there. That was really a nice little touch there, nice little addition. But it was really much his own thing, where we had his hip-hop music. Every time he was in a scene doing something, it had kind of rap or hip-hop going on, which I need to check out the songs, because they were really good. I recognise a couple of them. So I hope they do like a soundtrack playlist like they did for Luke Cage, the actual series. Now, it's interesting they started off with Iron Fist, considering that the show Iron Fist wasn't really that critically received. But really, a lot of people I talked to on Twitter, and that we liked it. We loved Iron Fist. I thought it was great. Obviously, the combat wasn't that good, but the combat in this as a whole was a lot better. It did seem like they'd used a lot more of the Daredevil footage, or the Daredevil kind of actual action choreograph or whatever, and every time Iron Fist was actually fighting, it seemed to like cut away from him. Every time he hit or struck, it seemed to cut away very quickly, or show it very quickly. It wasn't like him backflipping over a car or whatever, which was really cheesy in Iron Fist. So it was cool to see that they've improved that, to be honest, and the action is next level, especially the next level hallway scene we had when Elektra turned up. Now, what I'm liking about this is how we've seen Daredevil. We had 2 seasons of Daredevil where the Hand was mentioned. Of course, we've got Jessica Jones and Luke Cage where the Hand wasn't really mentioned. I'm not sure even if they mentioned any of them. But the Hand was obviously a big thing about Iron Fist. And it was cool to see these kind of merge together. And this definitely felt like the Avengers of these shows, to be honest. It was really short. It was about 8 episodes, of course, and that did it the world of good. Now, I love these shows, don't get me wrong, but the 13 episodes for these shows is just sometimes a bit too much, and there's a lot of filler, which is a real shame. So having this filler is just not really a good thing, to be honest. And really, this is just an Iron Fist story, which surprised me personally, the way it's worked out, that it was the Hand were the 5 people who wanted to get back to Kunlun after they were expelled or expunged, cast out as they go through on a global thing. They go on a global, set up their crime racket, and they're all major kingpins themselves. And then at the start, it set up the fact that Kunlun has been destroyed or been really, really fucked over. And we see Iron Fist in his outfit, his ceremonial robes, which are very similar to his costume, which is a real shame that we didn't actually get to see his costume at all. The closest thing we get at the end is like a track jacket, to be honest, to getting the original costume. It's kind of funny that Daredevil was the one wearing the scarf over his head, and it wasn't Danny Rand, who is arguably the most kind of prominent or well-known out of all of these, apart from Luke Cage. Now, talking about the hand, I had a real problem with them here. Now, the problem is, they built up, they were supposed to be epic. I mean, one of the villains in Daredevil Season 2 wasn't Nobu, like, he wasn't even an actual hand, and he was really, really strong, really, really powerful, had all these resources. Madame Gao, as well, was someone who is, again, very, very powerful across multiple shows. And here, it's a real shame that they're not powerful. They don't seem that powerful. They were pretty much dispatched in what seems like a couple of days. And they were taken out so easily. And it was it just didn't really make that much sense to me, to be honest. It didn't really fit that well. Alexandra, the villain played by Sigourney Weaver, was great at the start, but her motives, her feelings just they just fell apart as we unraveled this character who seemingly had a lot more to tell, but they just made it out that she wanted someone to like talk to. She wanted a mate, because all of these people, all of these hands forego all these connections. But she gets her own version in Black Sky. Now, the problem with this as well, so Alexandra's then killed, and then we get a new villain, Elektra, who is a cold, calculating person who's been brought back from the dead. She has like some kind of bloodlust, which is very similar to, if you've seen Arrow, if you haven't watched Arrow and you're a fan of these shows, you will love Arrow. But in Arrow, when they come back from the dead, they have a bloodlust thing, which was a bit shit. But the rest of the show is really good. So it's similar to that. But then she starts to recognize Matt Murdock, and then she attacks one of the members of the Hand who was behind Nobu pulling the strings, and, well, just wasn't that explained. That's the problem. A lot of the Hand wasn't explained. And Elektra's whole reasoning for taking out Alexandra, the reasoning for not wanting to be with Matt properly after all this, when she remembers who he was, a thinly veiled, "You let me die," which he clearly fucking didn't at all. So it just didn't really work there, to be honest. But another Easter egg here is the fact that her rebirth, where she was taking out all these ninjas, she becomes leader of the Hand, and later on, of course, she gets the iconic sort of, I don't know what the blades are, they're like the sharp ones, of course they're all sharp, but it's got the little hat and things. And we also get her rebirth outfit as well, so we get the classic outfit there, which is really, really cool, to be honest. It's really neat that we got that in the show. But, to be honest, I think that her taking over the Hand was a big mistake. Now, another thing which wasn't explained is the thing that was below the Midtown Circle. So I've got it completely wrong there. But the building wasn't... I like the way they were kind of unraveling the mystery of this. Can't help but think that that would have been a bit better explained if it was unraveled maybe in Jessica Jones, if Jessica Jones came a bit later after Luke Cage. But that thing which he punched at the end, forced by Elektra, that wall, it was like, well, what the fuck was it? It didn't make any sense, to be honest, that they added that in, and it just didn't really work the way they explained where it was. So he punched the wall, it disintegrated. They could get this fluid, this substance which allows them to be immortal. Are they immortal? Do they have to keep taking it or not? It doesn't make too much sense. The whole thing with Alexandra's cancer, again, didn't really work. It just felt a bit sloppy, to be honest, and trying to force or hammer in some sympathy for her. When the wall was actually created, where did this wall come from? Why was it in New York? It just really wasn't explained, to be honest, what this actually meant. Were they able to get to Kunlun and get this substance that was there? They didn't really seem like they were in a different location, to be honest, which was a real shame. And we did see the bones of the dragon that Iron Fist would have created, or would have been defeated, sorry, to actually get his power, Xiao Lu. So just again, it didn't really make much sense there. And really the problem of this whole show was it didn't explain anything. And really, as much as I liked the fact it was only 8 episodes and it allowed them to not have any filler like the rest of the shows, it seems odd that this one, where you want to explain properly about the hand, it didn't actually have any explanation, and you never really kind of understood really more about them. And I just wanted to know more about this villain that we've seen or have been encountering for years. Now, the chemistry of these characters was absolutely amazing. I really did like everything on this show. They worked together, even if the finale, the Defenders, wasn't as great as I was expecting. It wasn't the level of Daredevil season 1 or 2. Well, the show had these characters, even Iron Fist, which I loved. The character of Danny Rand was fabulous, and it was nice to see him in this group together. And that's really why this show was so good. And seeing these characters, the funny lines, obviously Jessica Jones stole the show, every single scene with everyone. And she said to Daredevil that if I'm going to punch you so hard, you'll see, which made me laugh quite a lot. And I highly recommend the show, if you've probably been spoiled to hell. However, where will the show actually end? Where are they going to go next? Because obviously we've got Misty Knight now, who has had her arm chopped off, which was very much like the comics, and Tony Stark Industries actually give her a new arm, and they allude to that as well in the show, where it was Danny Rand owns the whole kind of hospital. So he's similar, kind of like the Tony Stark of these Defenders, to be honest. And you know what, it was a pretty okay show. Now, my one problem here is that, well, like I said, with Elektra at the end, Matt's like, I can get through to her. You have. It just doesn't really make any sense why Elektra hasn't warmed to you. And then he inevitably kills himself. And that was that, to be honest. And I thought he wanted to go out with Karen. I thought he loved her. And then he's got Elektra, who's suddenly come back. Just real kind of plot failures there, in my opinion, of the show. And the characterization, the fact that Daredevil didn't get or wear his costume until really late, and the fact that he didn't really want to become or be Daredevil again, which makes no sense, because I thought last season this was going to be it. This was going to be the ascent of him being Daredevil full time, which now he goes back to pro bono work. So just a real shame the way it was handled at the end. Just a bit messy, in my opinion. But you know what? I enjoyed it. It was a fitting cap to the end. I'm excited to see where they go next with this, and I hope that the Defenders stick around. I hope we see them pop up in each other's shows now, to be honest. Now they know each other. However, that is it for this video. Please drop a like. Please subscribe. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.